Okay, so let's talk about something, Ma, that we know is true because we watched it with our own two eyes. That is Miss Amanda Seales appearing on Club Shay Shay, which we know is Shannon Sharpe's podcast, for 3 hours and 10 minutes. Now, Ma, I'm just going to mention a couple of things and then you can go in and let me know. Amanda pretty much started the interview because there's been a lot of slander online and negative commentary regarding Amanda's behavior. Now, she mentioned that she had recently been diagnosed as autistic and on the spectrum. We later find out, like a day or two after the interview was released, that she was not diagnosed by a clinician, that she was self-diagnosed, and that she said that she didn't want to pay $10,000 for a doctor to diagnose her. She also mentioned about Issa Rae. She said she would no longer protect Issa Rae. She said some unflattering things about her. We know about the infamous Black Emmy party in which she was kicked out of by Issa Rae's publicist. We also know that she also was not in Floetry. We don't know exactly what happened with her in Floetry, but she was a replacement.
And there was like a very abrupt exit or something.
Right. And that was just very unclear.
Right.
We know that early on in her career, when she first started working for Sirius Radio, I guess the first time that she was let go from that job, we don't know exactly what happened. We also know on The Real, was it The Real? Yes, The Real, that she was a replacement host, and she walked away from The Real. She did not get along with the producers or production side of that. She also was on whatever Kevin Hart's network or either his production company. She did a show for him, and I don't know what happened with that. She spoke pretty much fondly of Kevin Hart, unlike most of the other people, but she questioned the people around Kevin Hart and what his real intention was for his production company, blah, 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 blah. I don't know, Ma. What else as far as the people that she criticized?
Listen, she said, that she had bad experiences for one reason or another, with almost everyone. There was a couple of exceptions. One was Kevin Hart, for the most part, and that was even modest praise, and the other for Jeff Foxworthy, who she just almost paid homage to. She was just glowing and flowing in her praise of Jeff Foxworthy. Other than that, I don't remember any standouts in terms of people she gave a lot of credit and praise to. A couple,
her mom,
but not much. Well, I meant other people in the industry.
Gym teacher.
She did give praise to a couple of people in the past, but overwhelmingly, it was a negative kind of interview. I don't know what all went on and is going on with Amanda Seales. But I will say whatever is going on with Amanda Seales, it's bothering her. Okay? Many of these things are bothering her. They don't sit well with her. Okay? They have bothered her to the extent that she says she had a nervous breakdown. I'm not sure what she meant by that. But in general, the population at large, we interpret that to mean that you were no longer able to make rational decisions and take care of yourself for some period of time, whether it was long or short or whatever. But we just interpret that as a mental collapse. So I don't know if that's what she meant, but that's the way it is generally interpreted. And what I would like to say is, if any of these are illnesses that she's referring to, being on the spectrum and so forth, if those are mental health concerns and illnesses that she has self-diagnosed, I'm going to say it would behoove her and any of us to visit mental health care professionals for those type of diagnoses. That's what I want to say. As far as the cost, Amanda, stop it. I don't know that it would cost $10,000, but I do know you either have insurance or can get insurance. And for you to make that kind of statement rings untrue. Okay? I don't even know why you said it, but I don't know why you said many things. So, whatever is going on with her, she's uneasy in many, many, many environments. Now, what I will say is if she doesn't care, then she wouldn't be uneasy about it. It wouldn't be bothering her. She wouldn't have been driven or experienced what she refers to as a nervous breakdown if it didn't bother her. So apparently there's something about her interactions with all these situations that have really bothered her and have had a very significant impact, negative impact on her. And for those reasons alone, she needs to address what's going on. And she can't fix other people. If anything needs to be adjusted, it needs to be her. She's the one who's being impacted. She's the one who's being bothered. So, and to me, she didn't take accountability for much of anything. And she is the common denominator, obviously, a common denominator in all these instances. So I don't know what's going on with Amanda. I'm sure she's a wonderful person somewhere in there, but she needs to take care of Amanda. Okay, it's just really that complicated and that simple. I'm not going into pointing fingers because I don't know where the fingers go, but I know she is the one that she can address. She can address herself. She can make choices about herself and so forth. I won't even go into all the things that she explained. I listened to the entire interview for over 3 hours, and there was a number of things where I thought it was over 3 hours. The interview was over 3 hours.
I said it was 3 hours and 10 minutes, Ma.
Okay. Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But there were a number of things throughout that interview that we could address and ask her, Amanda, well, what did you do? Or how did you respond? Or what did you do to precipitate some of these episodes? Or are you entirely blameless in each scenario? And that's highly unlikely. So, you know.
Well, I mean, I think that I had a number of issues with the interview. I was happy.
Well, I did too, but how long are you going to go into it? Because there was so much.
I'm glad that she did the interview. I just think that there's just several things. Number one, like you mentioned about accountability, Amanda doesn't seem to ever take accountability for her role in anything. Yeah. But she's always willing, and not always willing, she always brags about, I'm the greatest this, I'm the greatest that, I'm excellent at this, I'm brilliant, I'm all this other stuff. Now, you can be brilliant, you can be all these other things, but you're a human being. You're not perfect. You make mistakes, you learn, you grow. And I don't know what it's going to take for her to realize that you can be the smartest person in a room. Being the smartest person in a room means that you know that you don't know everything. Right. And I think that Amanda is not reading a room well. I don't know about her diagnosis. I know that she should not be self-diagnosing. A lot of people go online, they read this, they talk to this, and da. People who are qualified to diagnose, others, go and get diagnosed by someone else. They don't self-diagnose. She is not qualified to do that. So that's a big problem. Also, when she put that out into the universe and she was kind of using that as like, well, this is why I'm the way I am because I am, on the spectrum. She was taking all accountability from herself. And she also was painting an unrealistic view of people who are on the spectrum.
And there's no reason we should even give validity to what she's saying.
Right.
There's no reason we should. But see, the thing to me that really bothers me when we refuse to accept accountability, that word that we hear all the time, it also could mean that we feel that we're either being not truthful, we're not being totally forthcoming, or we feel for some reason we're powerless. And everyone else has power over us to cause us to be in whatever situation we find ourselves in. And that's a real big problem because that's not true.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even, and like I said, she's self-diagnosed. So we don't know, she's not qualified to diagnose herself. Okay. So let's take that off the table. If someone is autistic, that is not an excuse. That is a way of life and a challenge that, people have who are on the spectrum, and there's levels to that. And they learn to have better coping skills and techniques to deal with different social, interactions. It's not like, oh, I'm this, and so therefore, this is how I am. F you, you're going to have to deal with it. That's not right.
Well, see, that's the recurring theme in every situation with her.
Right.
That's the recurring theme.
Right.
I'm just like this, take it or leave it. That would be fine if she was willing to take or leave the way people receive her.
Right.
But she's not.
Right.
She's the one there saying, oh, I had a nervous breakdown. Oh, I was hurt. Well, what are you doing to change that whole narrative? What are you doing?
Right.
But then you throw your hands up in the air like you just don't care. It can't be that way. It's one way or the other.
And not that people won't have empathy for you, and not that people won't care about you, but you don't seem to, return the favor when you're talking about, people in other situations.
Absolutely.
And a real thing that bothered me with Issa Rae, the whole situation with Issa Rae that she mentioned, whatever happened about the party and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. Oh, you were protecting Issa. Issa didn't do me the same. She didn't protect me. Issa gave you a job.
Right.
Issa put you on.
And that's where I know her from.
She put her on a.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Issa put her on a platform, opened her up to a larger audience. She's been around for a long time.
Absolutely.
But more people know her.
I only know her from Insecure. That's where I know her from.
Okay, so she's been around for a long time. She was a DJ.
I'm saying, like you said, Issa gave her a wonderful opportunity that opened her up to, exposed her to a lot more people, to a bigger fan base and whatever than I'm pretty sure she had in the past.
And also, there was a couple of things. I'm not going to get into the whole stuff with the sexual allegations against the former NFL player who's now a neurosurgeon. I'm not going to go there because that's like, criminal stuff. And, we understand that she did not particularly accuse him, but she somehow brought in other people who were accusing him. And so that's been squashed as far as we know. So we'll leave that alone. But then there was a whole thing with Tamir Rice's mom that somehow or another Amanda decided to get involved in that and was like coming after her and kind of siding with like Sean King and some others and asking, questioning this woman whose son was killed, whose son was wrongfully murdered, child.
Yes.
And so so I don't want to like come hard at Amanda, but Amanda needs to take accountability. And then there's this other thing too. Some people just aren't as likable as other people. Some people have that thing.
Clearly, that's true.
And I didn't think that Shannon Sharpe did a bad job interviewing her.
I think Shannon Sharpe was very brave to interview her because he knew it could have gone any sort of way. He knows that she's very controversial. He knew that starting out. It's not like he had any expectation that she was going to be an easy interview. He knew that he didn't know to what extent, obviously, until he experienced it, but he knew going in that she had that reputation, and he was willing to do it, and good on him. One thing Shannon didn't seem to be willing to do is to accept an invitation to be on her show. And guess what? I don't blame him. He didn't say no, but he was very non-committal. As we always say, he was very non-committal. And you know what? Justifiably so. Rightfully so.
And no, go ahead, Ma. I'm sorry.
I'm finished. I didn't say anything else. Go ahead.
No, and I think there was just kind of just a lot of things in here where we saw where Amanda is very combative and is not necessarily willing to see the other side to things. We understand that there's a lot of racism, involved just in general in society and dealing and interacting in Hollywood, but you also just realizing that being in Hollywood and having these different types of opportunities that you have a level of quote unquote privilege that other people don't have, and taking that into consideration. I don't think she did that.
Correct. That is correct.
And so I don't like to hear like everything's racist, because there's a lot, but not everything. And
that's right.
And I know people are going to call me out on this. I didn't like her use of the N-word. She used it a little too much.
I got you.
She has the right. I feel like any Black person has the right to use it if they so choose.
Right.
But I didn't like it coming from her.
I understand.
The way she talks, the way she preaches, how intelligent she is. I just didn't like the use of the N-word. And then this is also a person who is so pro-Black and so, I want to be all in Black spaces, but you didn't want to go to a HBCU because you thought that wasn't the right way in order to be accepted. Why you want to be accepted into the white world when you dog it out so badly? But then
she's dogging out both worlds too, as far as I see.
Well, yeah, she is dogging out both worlds, but you understand what I'm saying. Why do you care? Why do you care about being accepted in the mainstream?
Lots of discrepancies in the things that she's saying. Lots of, she's saying one thing, she's talking out of both sides of her mouth about a lot of stuff.
Right. And like I said, Jeff Foxworthy, sure, he's a good man. No problem with him. Don't know really anything too much about him. But the way she spoke about him was like he was the second coming of whatever savior. And I'm just like, wow.
And I really wish we as a culture, as a whole society, as a country would shift the way we talk about somebody doesn't like me because I'm Black or doesn't like me because of this. People don't like you because of anything physical. They don't dislike you because you're Black. They don't dislike you because you're Asian or because you have almond-shaped eyes or because you have curly hair or this or that. People don't dislike you for any physical attributes. People dislike you because they are being racist. People dislike you because they are looking for someone to criticize who is different from them, so it's easier. People are looking for someone. The people who behave in this, not everybody behave that way, but the people who behave that way because they are racist.
Right.
Not because there's anything inherently wrong with anybody physically, no matter how they look or what color they are. When people say, "Oh yeah, he got a privilege because he's white," then it's not even because they're white. It's because they are racist and they choose to say that. They choose to build. Nothing wrong with being anything. It's a whole lot wrong with other people criticizing it.
Right.
Nothing wrong with anything. So I wish we would switch our language. Oh, yeah, well, if you're Black. No, it's not if you're Black. It's if people are racist. There's nothing wrong. You're born Black and you can't do what everybody else can do. You can do what everybody else can do and do a lot of things better than a whole lot of other groups can do it. Okay? So it's not even about that. It's about people having a racist attitude. Okay? So I understand people say, well, that's what I mean. No. That's what you said. And some people start to internalize that and believe that. No, it's not about you being any kind of color. It's not Jeff Worthy. Jeff Foxworthy. Oh, his white man privilege. It's not a white man privilege. It's his racist, built-in racist privilege. You can take that privilege and pluck in the word racism most of the time when you're talking about white people. And a lot of people don't accept. Oh, they don't mean that. They do mean that. That's exactly what it means. That is exactly what it means. There are some people who aren't white that have privilege, yes, and that would be due to real privilege, financial, educational, or something like that. But when you attach white men and privilege together, the privilege is not because of white. The privilege is because of racism. Okay? Right. Privilege is because of racism, unless there's the exception, rich. it's not just across the board. I've seen broke ass, poor ass white people talking about privilege. You know, you ain't got no damn privilege. You just got racism that you're holding on to. That you're telling yourself, no matter how broke I am, I'm white. No matter how broke you are, you're just damn broke. Okay? And whatever privilege is in your head, that's a privilege that your bullshit racist family taught you. And your bullshit racist society taught you. You ain't got no damn privilege. Unless you really do. If you Warren Buffett, if you Elon Musk, if you, those people really have privilege. They happen to be white, but they happen to really be filthy rich. Okay? And not saying how they got rich. We ain't even go delving into all that. Okay? We won't even go into all that. That might be a whole different level of racism. Yeah. I'm not going into that. I'm just speaking in general. And this, because to me, when Amanda Seales was saying, Jeff Foxworthy used his white man privilege, Issa had her black woman privilege on Insecure. Mm-hmm. She had her black woman privilege and she wielded that power the way she felt she should. Okay? Maybe you didn't agree with it. She had the power for you to stay in that party. But guess what? It was something about you that she didn't want you to stay, if we're to believe the story that you're telling. Well, would you tell lies? Would you tell so many lies, Amanda? Who knows?
Well, the publicist said she was the one who decided it was her choice. But we know that doesn't exactly add up because we know that Issa Rae was the publicist's boss.
Oh, right. We do know this. Mm-hmm. We do know that Issa had whatever juice she had on that show, on Insecure, and we know she got you a job, and I haven't heard any gratitude about that. But yeah. You may think, Amanda, that you were so great and fabulous, but guess what? The show would have been equally fabulous if they would have plucked you out and plucked somebody else in your spot. And the show would have been equally fabulous.
And there was one other thing that I wanted to mention to that there was like the clip that was going on that, went viral in which Shannon, he kind of went back and forth with her about the whole thing with the teacher, about her correcting the teacher, about something that she said that was incorrect and that appeared to be, I thought it was racist, but I also thought, like you mentioned, Ma, to me, that also two things could be true at one time. The teacher could be racist, and the teacher could also feel like, I'm the teacher, you're the child, you're not going to correct me.
Right.
So I think that Shannon, and I think that Shannon and Amanda were both correct there.
Me too. I agree.
So
they both had good points, and that should have been fine. But Amanda wanted to see it like, no, what you saying. Amanda chose to go down a different path where she was absolute. Either you accept what I'm saying and there's no room for what you're saying. That's what I saw as a problem. Because she wasn't trying to hear what Shannon was saying. It's just, this is how I experienced it. And that's fine. But that doesn't mean that you don't have a valid point when you offer your insights.
Right.
Well, that's what I got from her. Like, very uncompromising, very unwilling to see another side. So that's what I got from her all the way around.
I'm sending, Amanda positive vibes. I don't think that she's a bad person. I do think that she needs to do some more self-reflection and definitely some more therapy. I don't know if she even really went to therapy because unfortunately, we can't believe a lot of things that she says as she has proven herself to be untrustworthy.
You know what? Or the other option is, stay 10 toes down and whatever you believe that you're the greatest and everybody else is doing an injustice, to you, stay that way. But you know what? Then pay the price. Okay? Pay the price. If you think that, your behavior, your interaction with others is good and great and, praiseworthy and so forth, stay there. And then we don't want to hear down the road the next month, you had a nervous breakdown because people treated you a certain way. If you feel that you're getting what you want from people within your interactions, stay there. And then we don't want to hear about it. You can't have it both ways. Either you want to change up your interaction or you're going to stay where you're at. And that's on you. And that's what I say about Amanda.
Yeah. And we wish you luck. We want to continue to see you,
There you go.
make moves, and be a boss. So we also want you to be a woman and
That's right.
be accountable.
It's like in any relationship. You can change your own attitude about it, but you can't change other people's. So that's in any relationship. Any relationship. I can change the way I see things, or I can step off and don't care. So that's it.
Okay, so let's move on. It was an interesting interview. It was a very long interview, and I will say for Shannon, keep doing your thing. Keep doing your thing.
I love it. I love it. Shannon, even when you make me mad, I love it. I just love that you're out there and you're doing it.
Right.
Yeah, I love it. Okay.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and check out full episodes of the Bamgboshe Happy Hour podcast, streaming on most platforms.